Welcome to Short Scale Modelling. This is part 2 of Tamiya's Kawasaki Ninja ZX-12R. Scale is 1 to 12, and this build is the start of the build, so I'm doing a lot of the block painting and assembling the engine block also. This video is not going to be quite like my normal one, so there's going to be certain aspects of it missing from like I normally have from alternative paints and things like that. But I'll explain all that throughout the video why it's not there. So let's get on with the build and see how well I get on. To begin with, I'm painting in the block colours, and this area here is for the engine, and I'm using Tamiya's X18 semi-gloss black for this. Now this is the overall predominant colour for the engine block. The next shade of black I'm using is Tamiya's XF1 flat black, and this is for the connecting hoses and pipes that are calling for a different shade of black. For the detailing, I'm using Tamiya's X32 titanium silver, and these are just little areas along the engine, all the bare metal parts. So it's time to assemble the block. I waited a good hour or so for this paint to dry before assembling. The block itself is a fairly straightforward build. There's two side panels, one each side, so technically that's 4 panels, and one underneath as well. It's all fairly straightforward. The instructions are nice and clear where everything goes. Have a dry fit though, because you may not necessarily want to assemble it in a particular order, so have a little go at dry fitting just to make sure you know exactly how these parts are going to fit together. Next is to paint all the sundry items that are going onto the engine block. Here I'm using Tamiya's X11 Chrome Silver. Now this colour will be broadly around all these little parts. I'm not going to list these colours every time, like the blacks and things like that, unless there's a major colour change. It's basically just to shorten down how many videos I do and a lot of time it takes to edit these. So saying that, onto the actual, I think this is called the rocket colour or something like that. I'm using Tamiya's XF28 dark copper for this. Now this is it's going to need a couple of coats. I may only put on 2 coats and not have a deep heavy copper colour. I sort of like the thin coat with the primer coming through, and it gives it more of that metallic-y look, I think. And it's the same colour on these parts here. Now these go onto the side of the engine block. Again, I'm not sure of the name, I'm not mechanically minded, I have no idea what half these parts are called, so you would just have to bear with me on that. So as I'm painting these colours in, I'd just like to add something about that's technically not part of the build. If you've watched my previous videos, my recent previous videos, you know I've had some PC issues and I've had to change my PC. Basically, my PC died and I had to buy a new one, which is unfortunate because I was saving up for a better camera. Never mind, these things happen. Now, I'm trying to get all the settings sorted out, so I'm not sure how well the audio is coming over on this. So if you do think the audio is strange and it's not coming through YouTube all that well, let me know and I'll tinker about with it. But it will be an ongoing process and I probably won't be able to fix it straight away. Anyway, back to the build. Then it's back to the main colour of Tamiya's X18 semi-gloss black. These 4 little units do have a different colour on the top of them as well, which I won't paint in obviously until all the paint's dried. There's a little connection rod here that has the same black colour as everything else. However, on the edge of it there is Tamiya XF5 flat green gets painted into it as well. It's quite a nice contrast colour to the black and the copper. It just makes the parts stand out quite well. And then it's over to Tamiya's XF16 flat aluminium for this part. Now, I wasn't sure on the it should be the aluminium or the titanium colour. No, the instructions are calling for an aluminium cover, but I thought it was a bit of a strange contrast considering all the rest is the titanium silver. But I just done what I was called for. But saying that, I'm not sure whether it actually throws off the balance, the look at the balance of the engine once it's built. Only time will tell, I suppose, but I've got suspicions it's not going to look quite right. Next, I'm going on to the frame of the bike, and it's the main black colour once more, X18 Simon-Gloss Black. So now it's time for the main assembly of all the little parts. Now I'm going to point out here as well, from the bit you just seen of me painting the sprues to this part was about a 4-week interval until I got to this part. It's because of the PC issues. I'm still trying to sort all the settings out. It's taken me forever to do, so I've not been able to build anything. So I've just got back to the bench, and I'm starting back up with the build. So as you can see here, I've got the rocket colour thing going on. I've scraped away any of the paint for the contact points, and these little 4 bracket things just go into each little location point. There's a little lip that goes over onto the raised area. This part here, there's a little bit of cleaning up to do before I can proceed. There's 2 little knobs of plastic on the contact points which have to be removed. It tells you in the instructions to remove them. It's not just like I've taken them off because I didn't like the contact points. It must be just injection molds that they're aware of that they've asked you to remove. But there's a simple case of just running my hobby knife over the flat area to remove them. And once that's done, they just simply sat on the housing on the block quite easily. Obviously dry fit, just like you see me doing here now. I don't often show you me dry fitting, but sometimes it's good just to remind people that you should be dry fitting all these parts. Mind you, saying that, there's many times I don't and I come a cropper. So that's why I like to point it out now and again. And it was a good job that I decided to dry fit it, because I decided this little connection arm, that this is the one that's got a little bit of green paint on it. It was easier to fit here now instead of when the whole unit is put together. And I thought that just sort of highlights the importance of dry fitting a part when you can, because you come across these stubborn little blocks that it's not necessarily highlighted on the instruction sheet. So when you dry fit them, you might think, oh, I might be better doing it in this sequence just for ease, or you run out of room in the building, things like that. The next part to be fitted is the rocket cover thing, and that just sits right on top of the engine block. Now this part was quite difficult to fit. The instructions weren't exactly clear how it was meant to sit in. There's a tiny location point on the flattened area beside the engine block, but it's so minuscule it's easy to miss out. It does fit in nice and squarely, but you have to get it in the right position or nothing else will fit. If you take off the little nub of plastic, the location pin by accident, which you can do easily enough, just make sure it's all lines up. If you're not sure, it should not interact so much with the pipe that I'm putting in now. The pipe should just sit above it, and obviously that's got its own dedicated location point. But it is easy to negate all that if you don't paint the part beforehand. Now, if you're familiar with my videos, you know I always pre-paint, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people will assemble then paint. Whatever works for you is absolutely fine. But if you didn't pre-paint it like I do, you would probably see the location points a little bit better. So that's worth pointing out. And on that note, I'm just touching up some of the paint that has got slightly damaged when I fitted the part with the cement. That's one of the drawbacks of pre-painting, but I don't mind doing that at all. So, but again, it's all up to the individual builder how they want to approach things like the painting. Just like the opposite end, and cleaning up the contact points before I fit the part. Again, there's a nice contact point for this to sit into. It shouldn't cause you any problems. It's also very easy to line up. Just line up the mould around the plastic area, well, around the engine block, and you shouldn't have any problems. And again, I'm just touching up with the titanium silver for all the little areas that may have got damage while placing the parts on. And this titanium silver is just for all the bolt heads and rivet things that are around the engine block, it gets this colour. And I've just got one thing to do to end part 2, and that is there's a little decal that goes on to this part of the engine. So I'm going to place it on now before I call it a day. That way I'll give me plenty of time for the decal to set and dry. So the decal's going on the normal way, softening up in warm water, then applying microset as my decal solution before placing the decal on. So this is where I'll end part 2, as I said. If you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for my other builds? If you subscribe to the channel, and please do so, make sure you hit the notification bell, that way you'll be kept up to date, not only with this build, but all my future builds as well, of course. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. Now remember what I said, if you feel that there's an issue with the sounds or something, anything like that, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. I mean, I'm still trying to tweak things and get them right on this bit. It may take me take me a little while, so just try and bear with it as best as you can for now. Also, I should point out as well, I haven't got an alternative paint list for this. All the files that I made up for my individual paints and a paint list have been corrupted and died with the whole PC. So I'm in the process of re-editing them. That will take me an extremely long time. So I'm not sure when I'll be able to get those alternative paint lists back up as well, unfortunately. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, such as it is. And again, as I said, I'll see you on the next part. Thank you all very much for watching. Bye for now.